So where we last left off with you guys, what happened was you made it to the lighthouse. You discovered that you wouldn't be alone when you arrived, and you
Bingle blew up a dog.
Yes, you proceeded to kill some people. You then lit the lighthouse and decided to go to sleep with the door barred. So, we come into our story with, let me see here. What's everybody's passive perceptions?
1,000.
Ooh, let's see
think
here.
it's slightly lower than
420.
1,000. Also lower than
Passive
420.
perception is a 14.
420, dude, that's the weed number. Oh my god.
Colgrim's got a
My passive
14.
perception's I have a 13.
14.
All right, so
That's good. That's a good perception.
Malog, what was yours?
13.
Okay, so Colgrim and Bingle, you are slightly... you awake kind of naturally, not with a sudden start or anything.
That's how I normally wake up.
Well,
God damn it.
you awake to the sound of approaching feet and some muffled exclamations coming from outside. You can't quite make out the details of what's being said, but you can hear there's a group of people outside.
All right, guys, I have a plan. This is just a gut plan. We're gonna pretend. We're gonna pretend to be the dudes we just killed.
Oh, there.
You mean the dudes whose bodies we left outside?
You didn't take care of the bodies?
No.
No.
I was about to say Maylog could be the dog.
Yeah, I could see where this was going. Thank you very much.
I assume, by the way, that you've woken Maylog up because his perception was not enough to pick up.
Well, no, I don't want to. If it's nothing to wake him up over, I'd like my baby boy to have some more sleep.
No, it's it's. We should wake him up.
As I
Maylog-
recall, Colgrim, he did take set up his bedroll right next to yours.
Okay. So
I'd
I'll
like
just
to
nudge
look
him.
over the edge of the top of the light of Beastfoot Manor, please.
Okay, you're gonna sneak on up there.
Well, it's my manor. I'm gonna go and look over the top.
But in what manner are you doing it? Are you going to do it
Beastfoot.
With-
You just said.
with the
Woo!
with the I guess
These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes.
Yeah,
Don't ignore that. That was good. Fuck you.
Are you gonna do it stealthily, or are you just gonna kind of walk up there and see what's what?
I'll peek my little bingle eyes over the top of the turrets.
All right, I am gonna need you to roll a stealth check.
Oh baby, let's do it. Let's get this started with a nice natural 20 as soon as I find my stealth.
Stealth
get?
is okay. So
We
this,
got a nice 16 there.
all right. So with the 16, you are, you're able to sneak up there and take a little peek over the edge. What you see is kind of an interesting sight. There are 6 people down towards the bodies at the base of the lighthouse, pretty much right where you left them. And they're kind of like not rifling through them, but trying to make sense sort of what happened. And why don't you give me a perception check on top of that?
That's a 7.
Okay, so with the fire nearby, you can't really make out what's what, but you definitely see that there are 6 people, and they're kind of starting to search the area. But from where you are and with like the fire going off, it's a little tough to make heads or tails of what's going on.
Okay. How many are there?
There's 6.
There's just 6?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pfft. All right, I informed the 2 gentlemen, you two, there are 6 dudes, and I could take care of them in my sleep. Just say the word.
There's 6 of them.
Yeah, that's 6 pulls the old bowstring.
All right. I'm going to head down.
Ooh, potentially 1 because I have that shrapnel ability.
I'm gonna head to the door that I barricaded, and I'm just going to stand off to the side of it and wait.
Okay. Malog, you gonna try anything special?
I am gonna peek my little head over and take a look.
All right. I'm going to need an additional stealth check, and then if you succeed, I'll need a perception check.
11.
Okay. With an 11, you are sort of peering up and over the edge, and you notice one of the people pick their head up and kind of lock eyes with you for a quick second, and they're going to shout towards you and just say, "Hey! Who's there?"
I'm just
Every part of me, this is out of character, every part of me wants to yell your doom again, like I did.
Hello, are you friend or foe?
It depends. Who are you?
Foe!
Shut up. I'm gonna grab Bingle and I'm gonna throw him on the other side of the room. And shush him.
In response to that, you hear kind of slightly towards the back, one of the people say, "Bingle, is that you?"
Oh, you know it. Who the fuck are you?
Boys, did you do this? It's me. It's Revan Tango from the High Tower Inn of Morin.
I turn to
Harbor.
Malog. I turn to Malog and I say, "It's that fucking bitch. It's that fucking bitch Cook who leads the." And then I'm gonna yell to him and be like, just want to clarify something. Are you a leader or a chef?
What?
Are you, would you, if someone was to ask you, you know, you're at the tavern late night, you're meeting some people.
My tavern?
Okay,
The High
hold
Tower
on, we're
Inn?
getting there, slow it down. And they say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What would your answer be?
That's kind of an odd question to ask, but as you know, I run the High Tower Inn.
And only the inn?
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't do that thing to that dog.
Franchising
I didn't do that thing to that dog over there, by the way.
Maybe in Severin, it could be nice, but hey,
Revan, I honestly, I don't care. I didn't do that thing to that dog.
Can I hear this?
yeah, you can definitely hear like shouting and Bingle's responses and.
All right, I'm gonna go up to the top.
Oh,
of the lighthouse.
Revan, we found a piece of our ship.
Great. Listen though.
Yeah.
Real question though. Like these guys here, was that you?
No, God, no.
Oh.
I was shocked. Look, do I look like I could do that to somebody? Look at me. Look at me.
Jesus. What happened?
Wait. While he says that, I'm gonna pick him up by the scruff of his neck and dangle him above the ledge. And while he's yelling, "Look at me."
Wait.
Jesus.
I'm gonna pick you up. Just like
Contextually, that phrase makes no sense, but we'll roll with it. I'm nervous. Are you boys under attack?
This motherfucker's Michael Jacksoning me.
We were under attack when we got here. We tried to introduce ourselves to the men at the lighthouse, but they just started shooting arrows at us.
Are you up here with us now?
No,
Yep.
he's down. Oh, you are up here?
I came up.
I'm gonna just turn to you and say really quick, I'm gonna be like, "Don't tell them we fought them at all. Don't tell them we fought them at all. Tell them that they were there already."
But, I mean, if worse comes to worse and they're hostile, we could fight them off too. Isn't that what you were talking about doing yesterday anyway?
Oh, but it's Revan Taco now. We know this motherfucker. We could take care of this.
Weren't you the one who said you wanted to take them in your sleep?
Take them
I'd rather
how?
just put all the cards on the table here, not lie about this, and...
Okay, all right. Hey, I won't say I told you so.
So, I'm confused.
We
About
killed
what?
them. They attacked us. We got to the lighthouse. I tried to introduce, or at least not scare them. Said that we weren't a threat, and then they attacked us.
And look at
And-
what Maylog did to that dog.
What you can see clear as day now is the small company of people that are seemingly escorting Revan are a handful of men, an elven woman, and kind of a sort of older human woman who the others are sort of dressed well in the sense that they look like they are sort of well seasoned. Maybe
Are they armed?
Yes, they are armed.
How heavily armed?
The
And how well seasoned.
very well seasoned.
Spicy.
Some chain link, some basic, mail armor, some very nice leather armor. It doesn't look ragged at all. It looks like whoever the owner is someone who's, maybe they make part of their living in some sort of defense capacity, but they all have some sort of weapon. But the group here is kind of like settling. They're sort of coming together and kind of discussing things really quick. And then they all turn to you and in unison just erupt into like cheers and clapping and like grabbing each other's shoulders and like embracing, and they're pumped by this development.
What's with all the adulation?
I did do that thing to that dog, and I'm just like
Hey,
beaming.
no, I'm taking credit for that now.
Did you think we'd be mad? These guys are assholes. That's half of our problem. You guys really are here to help. This is fantastic.
Well,
Why?
yeah.
Why didn't you say anything about them before?
You left.
No, we asked if there was anyone at the lighthouse, and you said no.
Well, we didn't know they'd be here, but we know who these guys are. It's a small island. We're all
Mott,
stuck.
Quick question, Mott. Are there any like I don't know, linen sheets or anything in the lighthouse?
The lighthouse,
Not
no,
jumping
it was
out.
fairly
Not
Dress up like a
jumping off the
goddamn
top.
ghost.
He's gonna jump off the top
Like,
and try to use
no,
the
there-
parachute.
No, I have hemp rope. I could get off the top if I needed to. No. So there's nothing like hanging on the walls, like a
Nope.
flag or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
Did you want to make a flag for Beastfoot Manor?
I did. So I'm going to use my
Okay.
bedroll. So while this is going on, I'm using my bedroll
Okay.
and I'm taking my tinderbox and I'm sort of just putting Beastfoot Manor. I'm burning it into the bedroll.
I'm
while this
gonna
is going on.
go downstairs and start taking down the barricade.
All right. Yeah, so they sort of go up as if to enter the lighthouse with you guys, still very jovial. And yeah, they realize it was barricaded, but await for you to clear out the way.
Did the jovialness seem like weird
Genuine.
or
They
yeah,
were
or like
so
off?
so. I mean, no one really got a good enough perception check
Okay.
without being noticed first to see what happened, but like they went from very confused and maybe even a little concerned to like pumped and relieved. Relief,
Well, I mean,
is
like,
probably
we did
the
do
primary.
so much damage to like those things, at least from a visual standpoint. That could have, like, what we did to those, a monster could have done, or something terrible haunting the lighthouse, or whatever.
For sure.
So I get it.
Yeah, they came across a pretty gruesome scene. And if your passive perceptions weren't as high to catch them out, you probably would have been beset by them pretty quickly, trying to enter in and figure out what was going on. But so the doorway is open now, and Revan sort of approaches you and kind of like goes to shake everyone's hand and does so like very enthusiastically and says,
I'm still at the top of the thing.
Okay.
Can I roll to see how well my thing turned out.
All right, Revan.
It's gonna take.
who
That
were
would
these
take
people?
you, because you don't have like a sewing kit or anything crazy like
No,
that.
I'm like burning it into it.
With what?
My tinder box.
Okay, that's still gonna take you like a good amount of
The
time.
rest of the
I'm
day.
I'm just putting a big old B and a big old M.
I guess I'll
Damn
call
it, you
this.
can't put bowel movement on the top of the.
I guess for lack of, because in Pathfinder they had like a crafting thing, like a profession. I'm gonna say maybe like just for, I guess, ease of what you're actually
It's a
doing.
D20,
like,
right?
give me a sleight of hand.
A sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like how I know that's probably not the right thing, but just how deftly you're able
That's
to.
an
like-
18.
It could be a performance too.
Yeah. So
That's an 18.
what are you trying to burn into this thing?
So I'm burning in a big letter B and a big letter M, and then I'm gonna tie some hemp rope to the top of it and hang it from one of the turrets on the top.
Wait.
of the lighthouse.
Wait. You just burned your bedroll.
My bedroll, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you,
All
I
right.
mean, you do it and you do it without damaging it too much. And I'll say that you're still upstairs, kind of working that out as the conversation downstairs is
Okay.
going on.
Can you just let me know whenever I'm done?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
So Revan is gonna kind of come up to you guys, and he's gonna sort of like, he's embracing you. He's excited. He's pumped, and he's gonna say, "Listen, boys. Jesus, there's so much to tell you about what we've been going on through this island. Why did you leave?"
Well, we didn't know you,
Uh-huh.
but we knew Denon.
Uh-huh.
Like the
And
jeans.
we were far more concerned with finding Denon immediately than with whatever else was happening.
Well, I can certainly understand that, but as you can see, the island outside of the city limits isn't exactly the safest place at the moment. Lots of ruffians and the like.
This guy's so fucking fishy.
Who were the people outside?
Well, it's kind of a long story. Listen, it's such a long story, and this isn't the safest of places to discuss it. And I think we should head back to the city. If you are okay with that, I'd love to start anew. It seems
Well,
like we're
first
both on
of
the
all-
same side here.
First
Am I
of all,
done?
we're
Am I
already
done?
here. We're already here.
Yeah, you're done.
We need to check out the wreck down below.
Of course.
And
Uh,
there are
why
boxes
don't-
of supplies outside.
I also say
supplies?
I say Riven. Riven. I also have happened. I lost my bedroll. I'm going to need a new bedroll.
Oh, of course. We can.
Thank you.
We should have one of those hanging around. That's no problem. So you found your supplies then? That's good.
We found some supplies, but we still need to check out the wreck down below.
Well, okay. I'll have my men here help secure the area, and you guys can do whatever you'd like. But we should make haste. There may be more of these men coming, and soon.
Can you give us a quick rundown on who they are?
They are a ship's crew that tried to overthrow the city and steal everyone's food and supplies when things got a little hairy. And we managed to kick them out. And, well, here they are, trying to steal our supplies once more.
All right. I want to go outside and I want to take a look at that wreck.
Okay, yeah. So Revan is going to go off and instruct the guards that he brought with him to sort of fan out and keep a watchful eye for any onlookers while you guys do your business. So to repaint the scene of the lighthouse, it was sort of on this kind of high rocky cliff, and after the lighthouse was lit, you noticed that the ship was strewn out across the lower part of the cliff, sort of on a base level, but a little, like not even a minute walk sort of around the corner and down this hill. So you're over at the boat, and what do you want to do? What are you looking for? Just to again paint the scene, you've already identified it's sort of the back half of the ship, and it's sort of cracked open, kind of lined up with your part of the ship, which was connected to it. And there's just other side damage along the way, but it's the back half of the ship.
Okay. Do I know what, like, if the back half of the ship was what held the majority of the supplies, whether they were spread out around the entirety of the ship, or were there more people at the back of the ship? Were they centered more towards the front or in the middle, or...
As you recall, the ship was laid out where the lower deck towards the back was where all the supplies were kept, which is what you kind of surmise was here. And then your area was primarily where the majority of people were, but there were some people towards the back. There were seats and such.
Okay, so do I see any bodies washed up on the rocks, or like stuck anywhere, or like how?
So give me like, just sort of as you're walking towards the wreckage itself, why don't you give me just a general perception check to see what you can discover about the scene?
Okay, that is an 23.
23. So with the 23, you can see quite a bit. You notice that the ship obviously was pretty violently torn apart. You can see the separation of the two levels. There is quite a bit of debris sort of scattered throughout the bridge. Scattered throughout the coast. And along with that, you can see some extra crates and stuff that looks like they've sort of been pulled out of the wreckage and set aside near the boat itself. Getting a little bit closer is when you start to see the bodies. There's a small handful, about 2 or 3 sort of bodies sort of strewn apart. 2 of them are in their seats still with their belts attached, and 1 is on the beach with, kind of face down in the sand.
Do we recognize any of them, or do I recognize any of them?
No.
Okay. And you said there were boxes of supplies that hadn't been brought up from the ship yet?
They're on the beach.
Okay. They've been prepared to be brought up, they just haven't been moved.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Are there any does it look like there's any footprints, or does it look like more than just the 2 individuals that were at the lighthouse and the dog have traveled up and down from the ship, or does it look like consistent with that small number of people?
All right, at this point, I'm going to have you run an additional check. I'm going to need you to roll a survival check just to survey the area for any kind of tracks or what you can tell about what's happened in this area.
That is a 12.
So with the 12, you can definitely see a lot of tracks. You see some pretty noticeable drag cuts, some deep impressions through the sand with footsteps on either side kind of moving back and forth. But it's from your initial assessment, it's impossible to tell what their numbers were, but you can sort of just intuit that these people, however many, were dragging crates off the beach and up towards the lighthouse.
Okay.
Maylog or Bingle, do any of you want to kind of join him and do your own investigation, or are you guys hanging up there?
I want to investigate with him. I want to see if I can find the cool shit.
Okay. Specifically, what are you going to look into? Just as like a general note, I don't really see much value until like now Maylog comes down and he rolls his perception check, and what does he see different? I kind of see it as like compounding efforts. So like I'd let you look for something specific if you wanted to do it, but I wouldn't really let you roll the same thing as before.
Right. Okay, so I'm going down. I gave Bingle a healing potion. So I want to see if I can find anything to replace that, whether it be like bandages or something that would allow us to heal up a little bit.
Okay. I would like to note that you did get a full long rest in, so you guys are all spell slots, all health points. You're fully back to fighting capacity. But so you want to look through, and do you want to look through the crates or do you want to look through the ships? Because they're in two separate places at this point.
You're talking about the crates that we found at the top of the hill?
Nope, there are additional crates
on
on the beach that haven't been pulled up to the hill yet.
I wanted to make sure. I'm going to look through the crates first, and then I want to take a look at the ship.
Okay.
I think the crates will have what I'm looking for.
Give me a strength check to open the crates.
Oh, God. 8.
Okay, so you start to pry the crates open with your hands, but they're so waterlogged and kind of damaged from sitting in it, you actually sort of shatter the frame of the crates that they were in, and the supplies sort of spill out onto the beach among sort of this wet and damaged wood. But what you can see inside, unlike the medical supplies, sort of the miscellaneous medical supplies you found at the top, these crates and other crates nearby are all filled with food.
Dope.
Some of it is slightly damaged by the water, you can tell, but for the most part, there's like dried and wrapped rations that are, for the most part, savable. They've been sitting out for, a little bit of time, so they've kind of had time to recover, but there's crates, about 4 crates filled with food.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of things, so maybe 3 days worth of rations.
Sure.
And throw them in my pack.
Yeah, okay. You got them.
So put that on my sheet so I remember. 3 days worth of rations. And then I'm going to shout up to, what is it? Darth Revan?
Revan Takeo.
Revan Takeo. Revan, come take a look at this. Do we have anything good to transport food?
Food?
Food.
Sick!
No.
Not right
Clean
now.
food.
But we'll figure that out. Don't you worry.
Well, there's 4 crates of it, so we're going to need some sturdy carts or strong people.
Would you like to go back to the city and get the necessary things to transport this? I don't want to just leave this stuff here where the individuals that we took care of yesterday or their friends, more importantly, come back and take it while we're in transit.
So he's gonna.
That would be an issue.
Yeah, he'll kind of like jog down the beach and meet up with you guys, and he says, "Oh," he burps into the microphone, and he says, "Well, boys, listen, we can leave some of my guards here to stay and protect the supplies, and we'll get some carts and everything sent out. But I'm more concerned about getting back to town and behind safe walls. It's great that we found the supplies. We weren't exactly prepared for it, but we can take some by hand, and we'll try our luck with making it back to town whenever you're ready.
Look, Revan, if our friends are alive, specifically if Denon is alive, time is of the essence. I think we need to head to the other crash site.
In the sticks?
If that's where it is, then yes.
Well, I can't envy him if he's in the sticks. It's a nasty place.
Is there anything good on this island?
Well, I mean, big deadly
Other than Morn
storm,
Harbor.
a revolt, goblins. It's not great now. There's the inn. That's kind of nice. He sort of like kicks a rock on the beach.
I'm going to ask you before Bingle eventually does. Are there any dragons on this island?
No, although, I mean, at this point, what else?
Are there any dungeons?
There's a
Goddamn.
well.
I wanted you to ask, are there any dragons again? Right after I asked. Oh, well.
Probably in the sticks, it's largely unexplored, but
So how do you know it's so dangerous?
because we've been there, not all the way, but listen, there's a lot to go over. I kind of hoped we could have this conversation over a nice meal in the harbor, but on the beach doesn't seem that appropriate, and I would like to stress, those guys had friends. They're not keen on watching their friends die.
Oh, yeah, well,
Especially
I
I can't stress enough, they loved that dog.
that was the point.
Oh. He actually kind of chuckles at that a little bit. He said, listen, if you boys are done here, we can go. And I can give you whatever help you need to find your friend. But this isn't a great place to sit here and tell our life stories.
Why not? If you're leaving your guards here, why isn't it appropriate to talk about something here and now rather than the city?
One, because that's a lot of exposition to have outside, and there's a band of murderous sailors who are probably going to come and figure out why their friends haven't come home.
How large is this group of sailors?
How many did you kill?
2.5?
The dog's a half. That's fair. 12 more.
Oh, no problem.
Well,
Where are they?
the forest to the north and the quarrying wood, we think.
What do you guys think? I'm
I
going
think we
to
should go
confer
to
with
the
Colgrim.
forest.
Do we want to secure the food and the safety of these people, or should we go straight for Denon?
I personally have no allegiance to these people at all. Yes, we were sort of sent here to help these people, but I went because of Denon, so I don't care about helping them get back to town. I have some rations. I can hunt. I just want to go to the forest.
I'm really looking to Colgrim right now. I'm not paying attention to anything that
I'd be
Bingle
looking to
says.
go to Denon.
Okay, then I'm all in on whatever you.
Revan, we need to find our friend Denon.
That's fair, and I understand that, but the city's halfway there, so if we...
Would you just like to tell us what's going on while we walk you back to the city? We'll get you safe inside. You can tell us what's going on the trip, and then we'll head to the sticks.
Well,
That's...
it took us almost a full day to get here.
It took you... You know that at the pace that you were going, it took you kind of to the tune of like 6-ish hours. I don't remember the exact details, but you were sort of at midday, and it kind of took you to the point where, given the storm, it was getting really dark.
Right.
So Colgrim would know that at this point it would be about like a half day's travel to get to to get to the sticks, the border of the sticks, because
From
you're
Morin
very
Hall?
familiar with the map.
Okay, from Morin to the sticks.
No,
or
from the lighthouse, cutting across the road.
So it's only a half day to get from the lighthouse to the sticks.
No,
That's
it's
a half day from
It's-
the lighthouse to Morton Harbor.
it's 12 hours. The lighthouse and the sticks are roughly equal distance from the harbor. So it would be 6 hours to the harbor on foot, 6 hours to the lodge.
The sticks.
okay. So we might as well stop in because the last thing we want to do is enter the sticks at nighttime.
Yeah, you would
Right.
be like, it's kind of like 8 or 9 o'clock now. So you would be kind of arriving pretty late at night. It would be well dark by the time you were approaching the edge of the sticks. And you know that there's like what was called a hunting lodge at the edge of the sticks. But you don't know much about it outside of that context. You just, Colgrim remembers because he's good with maps.
Right. I mean, worst case, we could just camp out like outside of the sticks, not in, but nearby. So, yeah, well, we can head back. All right, we'll head back. But you have to tell us what's going on here on the way.
That's fair.
All right, let's head out.
Anyways, just out of character, just want to posit the possibility that he's just acting and he's gonna lead us right into a trap.
I know, and there's this, God, there's this issue too in that why isn't it okay for us to stay in the fucking lighthouse?
Which is mine.
Which he's so
Ours.
worried about us being here, but like he's cool with leaving his friends.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense. I think that we should not go with them. I think that we should do our own thing and find Denon.
Well, speak up, Bingle.
I already did. I spoke up and Maylog ignored me.
Well, we would be going to Denon. You know what? You know what I can do, Mott?
I'll assume that this is kind of all happening in character because
Yeah,
like,
can we be arguing?
Yeah, but quietly
well,
to
no, like
ourselves.
he's walked off at this point and he's gonna start to let his people know that like, all right, like you guys are gonna stay, we're gonna send back.
Okay, while that's happening and we're bickering amongst ourselves, I am going to, because it's a fucking new day, I am going to channel the power of my bear to act as a spiritual guide and guide me towards an objective again.
Okay, but before you do that, I just want to make one more case here for not going with this man, Revan. None of us like him. None of us trust him. He walked all the way here without trouble. He's now going to walk all the way back, and I assume he can do the same. Doesn't need us to escort him. And we have our own shit to do.
Well, he had bodyguards on the way here, and now we're potential bodyguards on the way back.
On the way back. I'm still summoning Yor to see what. Basically, I want to see the direction that he's going.
Okay, so you kneel down and meditate. As you do, your the mark of the bear on your chest sort of glows slightly and burns, as you've now sort of realized it does when you channel this power. And you and only you can see Yor materialized in front of you and actually takes a seat, just sort of plops down right by the guards and like Revan, and he's sort of just like there peacefully hanging out with them.
I want to yell at Revan, "Hey Revan, would you mind walking 50 paces north of here?"
Just want to check out that ass.
Oh, okay. And he sort of gets up and kind of like moves sort of a little bit, kind of shuffling across, looking at you the whole time. And Yor sort of gets up and follows suit.
Bingle, I know you're not gonna like this, but I think we need to follow Revan.
I won't say I told you so.
Your disappears.
I will say I told you so, just to make that clear. But I mean, I'm with you.
Well,
All right,
let's go.
we're heading back.
Okay, so 4 guards are going to stay behind. The one other person who is going to come with is the older kind of looking woman. She's just to I'm wondering how many experiences you guys would have with half orcs. I think maybe like Colgrim, or sorry, not Colgrim. Neither Colgrim nor Bingle would probably have too much experience, but Maylog like definitely would know what a half orc is. She goes and she picks up 2 crates on either shoulder, just sort of hefts them up. She's got food in one and medicine and other supplies in the other, and just says, lead the way.
Nice.
So you guys head out?
Yep.
So I suppose you boys will want to be hearing the whole story. Well, everything started when Mount Magnus exploded in a puff of fog and smoke. No one quite knew what was going on at the time, you see. No one understood that Mount Magnus was actually a volcano, or at least that's what we think now. But anyway, the smoke began to rise from the mountaintop, and, well, it slowly evolved from just a column of white fog-dense smoke to a column into the sky. And soon it became the storm you see all around us. You see, we just thought it was a weather condition, something natural that surrounded the island. And well, for the most part, no one really was all that concerned. It was actually kind of a nice time on the island. There were plenty of ships stuck, not wanting to venture out into the storm just yet, and spending lots of money at the inn, of course. And, well, things were going pretty well. It's, a few days go by, and, days quickly became a week, and, soon, one by one, the ships began to leave. And no one came back. We all just assumed that they made it through the ship. We all just assumed they made it through the storm, well enough, but we began to get concerned when no ships were coming into the harbor, no new ships. You see, that's very strange. Usually we'll see, 2 to 3 ships a day at the very least, but it had been a while since we had seen a new one. We began to become concerned that ships were being lost out at sea, and that potentially this storm had claimed, many lives, and our brave Governor Miles, he decided that he would take the strongest ship that still remained in the harbor and venture out into the mists, into the fog, and just to see how big the storm was, get a sense of what we're dealing with here. And, well, it wasn't long until he came back, the first to come back, the only to come back. But unfortunately, it didn't come back in one piece. We first started seeing the debris, just chunks of thick wood, thick like the hull of the ship that left, with the governor and some of our best on it. And, the bodies followed, and wasn't long before we were pulling our beloved mare dead. Dead from the wreckage. It was a sobering sight. It told us that we were stuck, at least until the storm passed, and a small group of us from town got together and decided that we would take up the mantle of mayor by council. We would watch over the town and make sure people were safe and happy and things didn't get out of control. Captain Bear, the town guard's captain, myself, and owner of the Central Lane Trading Company's outpost here, Mr. Brule, all decided that we would watch over the town, and things went really well for quite a bit. The people in town, understood that times were going to get tough and were willing to make, the necessary sacrifices. The ships that remained here seemed to be complacent with, sitting around my inn and having beer, which, we were happy to oblige, but, well, it wasn't long before something a little more suitable needed to happen. Captain Bear actually had the idea. Let's send scouts out throughout the island, see what can be found at the other parts. There is Severin to the north. You'll know. We thought maybe they could have fared better through the storm than we were. Maybe they had supplies, or we could contact them and combine our efforts, survive together. So we sent scouts to the north, and we sent scouts to the east, to our lodge, where a lot of our meat from the sticks comes, the hunting lodge. Well, it wasn't long before the scouts who went north came back, reporting that the same storm, the same fog had blocked off the river crossing that leads to Severin. A terrible, terrible current had picked up in the river, an unnatural current. Of course, that dense layer of fog covering the water. You couldn't safely get across, not if you tried. And from what we saw, from what it did to those ships, we weren't about ready to walk through it ourselves. It's an unnatural storm. We didn't hear from the scouts to the east, not for quite some time. Things began to get worse. Food was becoming limited. Our ale was running low. Not too low yet. Our ale was running low. Things were looking to be a bit difficult, but then a bit of good news. The scouts were seen. The scouts who headed east were seen on the edge of the hills just outside of town, and we ran out to meet them. We sent an advance party to meet them, and they were injured. More dark days to come, it would seem. They told of quite the tale. Apparently, the hunting lodge in the east had been attacked by goblins who came from the mountain, and the forests were now infested with them. They were driven north, away from town, and managed to actually find across the river a breach that led towards Severin, but fearing that the goblins were near even at that moment, they decided to take this brief reprieve, being so close to the river, to follow it and head back to town and report what they had found. Captain Bear organized a party of the strongest men and left immediately. It seemed like the best thing to do at the time. We didn't see him for... well, he still hasn't returned. Weeks went by. Food became more and more scarce. Mr. Brule suggested as the different ships who still remained left one by one. The ones that did stay, the Fat Lord ship, as you've met some of their men already, still remained, and, well, they weren't very pleasant guests after the ale started to go into shortage. Mr. Brule recommended that we cut off the supply, save it in our time of most dire need, Begrudgingly, I accepted. I didn't like to see my halls empty, but, well, it made sense at the time. Unfortunately, that put, let's say some of the townsfolk and shipmates a little at ill ease. They revolted. There was a pretty violent uprising. With Captain Bear gone, there wasn't a whole lot we could do. We tried to defend the city as best as possible, and, well, it resulted in the men of the Fat Lord escaping the town with many of our remaining supplies. We were defeated. Morale was at an all-time low when someone made the suggestion that maybe the Center Lane Trading Company would have supplies in their vast warehouses in town. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but Mr. Brule he was quite against it. He didn't want anybody into his warehouses. It didn't take long for it to look as if a second revolt was on its way, and Mr. Brule begrudgingly did agree to let us rummage through, and what we found was quite spectacular. There was food and medicine and all sorts of goods left from the different companies who dealt business with the Center Lane Trading Company, all there for the taking. And, well, we took. We were happy again. Things seemed like it was going to be okay, at least for a time. The storm wasn't showing any sign of letting up, but, you know, we had food. We could deal with things, and it was believed that Captain Bear would be back any day now, with news from the north and from Severin. Well, somehow things were going okay until we were betrayed. It would seem that the Fat Lord was not done with us quite yet, and her men and women poured into the city once more, sneaking in the middle of the night, threatening to take the supplies that were just found. They did so, although we managed to fight them back a little more this time. You see, when you push an animal against a wall, it oftentimes will bite back. And we did. We bit hard. We managed to kill several of them, much as it disgusts me. I detest violence, but sometimes it is necessary. There are just 15 of them, well, 12 after your escapades at the lighthouse, but anyway, they taunted us as they left, saying it was Mr. Brule who not only told them of the supplies, but opened up the gate. We seized him quickly and locked him away in the inn. His betrayal was unacceptable. Well, until you showed up about a week later, we were in a pretty bad place. We were running low on supplies again, but this food, if we can make it back and secure the food and the supplies, I think it'll bring another round of hope, but that hope, well, it wanes. I hope you boys can find your friend and help us. We don't have much hope left. We need all the help we can get. So, that is the tale of the Morin Harbor Revolt, and you see now what's left of it. Just us few trying to survive and do the best we can.